The Sword in the Stone. Legends of King Arthur. In ancient times, when Britain was still a wild place, there lived a great king named Uther. After many years, Uther defeated the invading barbarians and drove them from the land. For this triumph, British lords proclaimed him their king, or Pendragon, meaning dragon's head. Soon after his coronation, Uther Pendragon met and fell in love with the beautiful Lady Igraine, a widow. Uther had killed her husband in battle. Uther married Igraine and adopted her two young daughters, Margaise and Morgan le Fay. The price for this love was a high one, however. The king had asked for the help of his sorcerer, Merlin, in marrying Lady Igraine. In return, Uther had agreed to give up their firstborn son. Merlin had foreseen danger and felt that he alone could protect a young heir in the dangerous times ahead. Before long, a beautiful boy child was born. But the joy of the birth was brief, for Merlin soon appeared to take the child away. "But the child was just born," exclaimed Uther. "How did you find out so quickly?" Silently, the old sorcerer led the king to a balcony and pointed upward. There was a great dragon formed by the stars. Its vast wings arched over the country. "You see by this sign, my lord, that it is not I who calls for your son, but destiny." Sadly, the king gave up his son, for Merlin convinced him that the child's great future was threatened. Indeed, Uther Pendragon died within a year from a traitor's poison, and Britain was once again plunged into darkness. The next 16 years after the death of the High King were terrible. There were many wars. Many castles and villages were burnt. The people needed a strong ruler to bring peace to Britain. After 16 years, the Archbishop of Canterbury called Merlin to help restore order. Although the two men were of different faiths, they had great respect for each other. "I am at a loss, Sir Wizard," said the Archbishop. "I don't know how to help the people, and they are suffering more each day. If only Uther Pendragon were here." "My lord, I have good news," said Merlin. "Although King Uther's death left us in the dark for many years, it is at last time for the sun to return to Britain. A brilliant sun, my lord. Perhaps the brightest that Britain will ever know." "But the sun was out this morning, sir," said the Archbishop. "What has the weather to do with this?" "I speak of the son of Uther Pendragon, the true heir of royal blood. But the king had no heirs." "Alas, that is our problem," said the Archbishop. "I wish to prove otherwise, my lord," replied Merlin. "If I have your leave to use my magic, I shall organize an event that will reveal this young heir and prove to the world that he is the true and rightful king of Britain." The delighted Archbishop agreed immediately. On a Sunday morning in late November, the great cathedral of London was filled to capacity. Suddenly there was a noise. The Archbishop walked toward the door. In the churchyard he saw a great stone. A shining sword was buried in the stone. On the stone they saw these words written in gold letters: "Whoever pulls this sword out of the stone is the rightful king of Britain." "Ah, so this is Merlin's plan," thought the Archbishop, smiling to himself. A group of barons and knights suddenly pushed their way through the crowd, each stating loudly that he should be the first to try. All the knights tried to pull the sword out of the stone. They pulled it with all their might, but no one could do that. The Archbishop stopped them. He decided to send messengers across the land. "You will tell our people about a tournament on New Year's Day. Everyone can try to pull the sword out of the stone," the Archbishop said. To all parts of the kingdom, messengers rushed out, carrying the Archbishop's proclamation. Every castle and village was alerted, from Sussex to Cornwall and, finally, to the dark forest of Wales. There lived a gentle knight by the name of Sir Hector Bonmaison with his 2 sons. The elder was a handsome, robust youth, recently knighted and now known as Sir Kay. The younger was a gentle blonde lad of about 16 whom Sir Hector and his wife had adopted as an infant. His name was Arthur. Although Arthur was not of his blood, Sir Hector loved both sons equally and devoted himself to their upbringing. Sir Kay was the first to hear the news of the great event in London, for as usual, he was in the courtyard polishing his helmet when the messenger arrived. A tournament! At last, a tournament, he shouted. We must set out for London at once. Father, you know what this means to me.